Back in 2018, future Hall of Fame basketball player LeBron James decided to take some of his multi-gajillion dollars he's made by shooting a ball into a hoop, and he started through his foundation a brand new school right outside of Akron, Ohio. It was called the I Promise School, and it was meant to deliver a very important, uplifting educational experience to the underserved community there, which we think is a great idea, by the way. As you know, we're big proponents of school choice, private schools, charter schools, parochial schools, homeschooling, anything that gets kids outside of the handcuffs that they're currently wearing with the government-run school system that really just does the bidding of the teachers union. So great idea, right? Well, actually not really, because LeBron James made one fatal error. He actually partnered with the aforementioned teachers unions, and well, maybe it's time for a report card on how that new school is doing. Tommy Schultz joins us now, CEO of the American Federation for Children, and it's been about, 5 years? Time for a report card. How are the kids doing in LeBron James's school, Tommy?
Well, I think the evergreen kind of take here is that everything the unions touch turns to rubble. I was disheartened, frankly, to see this report saying that for the past 3 years, none of the students in the 8th grade had passed the state math test.
Wait. Hold on a minute. Did you just say none of them, like 0%, not one student in 8th grade passed the state math test?
Correct. Yes. And I want these kids to be successful. Like you said, these are the lower income students that desperately need an access to a great education. They need school choice. And what was curious about when this school started in 2018, it sort of had some of the hallmarks of what some of these great schools look like, which is maybe a unique kind of wraparound model of the whole kind of education system is all in for these students versus just the pure one size fits all monopoly. But then when you realized, oh, the teachers unions have partnered up on this and that they were running the show. And you even look at some of the early articles where they had to go through these contract negotiations just to let the teachers teach an extra hour during the school day. You sort of saw the writing on the wall that, this thing could be doomed to failure. And unfortunately, we're seeing in these initial years, this has been a real bad start for this school and for these kids. I think the silver lining, though, is that Ohio just expanded their school choice program. So we may be able to turn the ship around for some of these kids in the next couple years here.
It's not like LeBron James needed a whole lot of publicity, right? He's one of the most recognizable people on the planet. But he sure did get a whole lot of good publicity, positive publicity when he did this. And of course, there was a ton of virtue signaling, Tommy Schultz, because he was partnering with the teachers union. So the left in the media, the left in pop culture, and certainly the political left embraced this and held it up as the ideal.
Yeah, and if you go back to the context of when this was created, it was 2018. This was the height of the big existential threat that the union saw to their power base because Betsy DeVos was Secretary of Education. She was doing this massive and heroic school choice push. She was undoing the influence of the Federal Department of Education. So the unions went all out that legislative cycle, if you recall. They walked out of the classrooms in dozens of states. Basically zero choice programs at the state level expanded that year. And so when this school gets created, Randy Weingarten is out there tweeting that the evil billionaires putting money into charter schools or to private school education savings accounts programs and things like that, they were the evil ones, right? But LeBron, everybody should look at what he's doing with his billions of dollars and his influence at partnering with the local unions and the school districts. And I mean, it's funny because when you look at what then happened a couple years later with the massive, basically national teacher strike that happened during COVID, right? Suddenly you look at these Catholic schools that are many of them just down the road from LeBron's school in Akron, where their average tuition is maybe $5,300 for elementary school. The average Catholic school in this country right now, the students are about 2.5 years ahead of their public school peers, thanks to all the stuff that the unions basically organized in 2020 and 2021. And so what's the real tragedy here is that these students only have one shot at a great education and the unions robbed them of it.
You know, there's another interesting piece of insight that we can take from this as well. Because this was done in partnership with the teachers union and the district, really the only distinction between this school and the public school is LeBron James's checkbook. In other words, this is sort of the the ideal public school. This is the ideal government school. If they got all the money they ever wanted, if they didn't have to worry about people saying, wait a minute, that's going to bust our budget, or those taxes are too high. This is basically the teachers union and the administrators at the school system getting their dream, writing a blank check almost, and still the kids didn't perform, right? We always hear that, oh, if we just had more money in the schools, then the results would be better. But this proves that to be a lie, Tommy.
Look, we have case study after case study where that lie is shown to be, the true colors of it comes to bear when you're thinking about, like you said, average public school student in this country is getting about $18,000 per kid per year in taxpayer funding, coupled with, the unlimited resources of a guy like LeBron James, all the fawning media coverage. How the money is spent really matters. Eric Hanishek's research shows this. How it's spent matters. The choice systems matter most. And you look at the places like Florida and Arizona that have had some of the most robust choice systems in the country. They're spending less than public schools are per pupil for these choice systems, yet they're getting the best academic gains for especially the lowest income students. So ultimately, this is the kind of key takeaway. You need to expand school choice by really giving families control of those dollars and not the teachers unions. You need to fund the student, not the system, because like you said, you can have all the resources in the world, you can have all of the fanfare and all of the kind of celebrity backing you want, but if it's run by the teachers unions, it's inevitably going to turn to rubble.
Now, the LeBron James Family Foundation is pushing back a little bit. They're saying that this data is unreliable that we're seeing right here, that it's just focusing on one segment of the school, and they're saying that the I Promise school in Akron is actually showing some progress. Have you been able to look at their response?
Well, when you look at the data and you kind of parse through, state by state, city by city, whenever the teachers unions see a glimmer of hope, they're always going to point to it, right, and say they're doing well. Or the reason that they're not doing well is that they need more resources. And I would bet my whole family lifetime income on the fact that come next year, I'm sure the unions will be saying this school just needs more money, despite the fact, Larry, that don't forget, we gave public schools $190 billion for COVID reopening that in large part has basically been unspent. And if you really actually gave that to, let's say, half of the families in America, that would have been enough to put them into a private school at about $6,000 per kid per year. So resources aren't the problem, right? And for anybody kind of pointing to, testing data or things like this, look, they partnered with the school district that wants this testing system, that basically runs this testing system in all of their schools across Ohio. And ultimately, if they think that they can't somehow meet the kind of standards or even low benchmark standards in most of these places that the teachers unions are running, it's a weak excuse. And ultimately, I hope maybe they look at going more into a private school model. I mean, LeBron himself went to private school.
That's right.
He knows the benefits of that,
Thanks to his basketball scholarship.
They can look at these types of models and do better.
Yeah, not every kid is 6'9" when they enter high school. Tommy, you make a great point there. If the data is unreliable, well, it's the data that the school district that they partnered with is providing. So, one last question here. As you mentioned, Ohio now has a very robust school choice program. In our final minute here, if you were giving advice to any of the parents right now in LeBron James's, what is it called? I Promise school.
I Promise.
If they're in Akron right now, those parents have a better choice now. I mean, are they better off taking their kids out of LeBron James school? I mean, they might not have as nice a painted hallway because the money goes to the facilities. But if they go to the Catholic school or parochial school right down the street, or if they use those resources to homeschool, the odds are they'll have a better shot at being more literate and understanding math.
Look, every kid is completely unique, right? And
Sure.
I hope that parents do take the time to look at places like School Choice Ohio to help them navigate the best option for their kid, because that I Promise Academy may be the best option for certain families, but clearly overall, maybe not the best for that entire community, just to plug and play, one size fits all, cookie cutter dynamic. And again, you're looking at these modest tuition Catholic schools just down the road at maybe $5,300 per year that they're requiring in tuition that would be fully covered by the voucher programs in Ohio. Versus, LeBron school is probably spending more than $12,000 per kid in those elementary school years. Yeah. You can just go and look at this and say, something's going on here. Let's look at our options. Let's see what's best for every kid. So I implore every family, find the best option for you. Look at School Choice Ohio. Great program, great group. They've got the information necessary for you to make the best decision for your kid.
Meanwhile, the teachers at the LeBron James School, they are making so much money they could afford tickets to an NBA game. So there's that. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.